Word. Welcome back, episode 105 of the Grouch and the Brainstorm, and I'm Mike, and I'm here today with Jill.
Hey, guys.
And Matt.
Hey.
And together we are the Grouch and the Brainstorm. These three folks right here, these wonderful mugs that you see on your screen.
Wonderful.
This is how we do it.
That's how we do it.
I might need to download that.
Do it. Oh,
Good stuff, man. Who sung it? Come on. Montel Jordan.
yeah.
Oh, sure enough. Even have that downloaded on my playlist.
I probably wouldn't tell nobody that.
Yeah.
But
I have all kind of cheesy 80s. It's wonderful.
I do like the 80s stuff.
well, the 80s stuff was really good. Matter of fact, that's all they played at the meeting that I just got back from was 80s stuff. Hall & Oates and I think I heard a little Foreigner rolling back there. And then, of course, Train performed.
The Great Train.
The Great Train, right out of 1990 something.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
I really enjoyed it.
I saw them a long time ago.
It was
they were all right.
It was definitely it was good. It was good for me.
They
I
were
needed
like
to hear
a
it.
light rock to me. I was more of like a
Yacht rock type person.
Yeah, a light rock. I mean, I was more of Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, Nine Inch Nails kind of stuff.
You're more like grungy.
Oh, I was all about the grunge.
Yeah.
A little hardcore there, bud.
I am.
Yeah. I mean, I
Pretty
like all
hardcore.
that stuff.
I never listened to Nine Inch Nails until I watched a Netflix special on Lollapalooza.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the guy who fronted Nine Inch Nails is the one who...
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor. And apparently I'm the only one that didn't know his name because like everyone I spoke to actually knew his name as well. So
I love him, and I've seen them like 3 times.
Nine Inch Nails.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so Jill, we hadn't seen each other in a few days. What have you been up to?
Well, I can't say that I'm doing much
all
more than I
right?
was. Yes.
Doing all right,
Actually,
getting good grades. The future's so bright, you gotta wear shades.
shades.
that's right. Actually, I am doing great, and my funk passed. Yay! My stomach's getting better. Yay! Well, and I knew it would.
Yeah.
And I've, like I said, I've totally changed my diet, and I think that has helped tremendously.
So what do you eat now?
I don't eat dairy. I don't eat gluten. I don't eat processed foods. What else?
Keep going.
Fried? Did I say fried foods?
You said processed.
Fried foods as well.
A lot of hummus.
I love hummus, and I do eat a lot of hummus. I've been making, which is probably going to gross you guys out. I got some gluten-free bread, and I toast it, and I put fresh avocado, and hummus on it, and eat it as a sandwich.
That's normally.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Well, and you put some everything bagel on it, and yum yum.
My grandson cannot have gluten. He has some disease, celiac or.
Yeah, that's what it's.
I'd never heard
celiac
of
disease.
it, but he can't have gluten, so I would imagine the whole gluten can, and he's a diabetic on top of that. So
Yeah, I've just been eating a lot of like whole foods, fruit, vegetables.
You can eat all you want. That kind of stuff. You can just. Can't you?
I can't eat that much.
and
but,
you grow your own food here?
Well, and that's the plan. I mean, my winter garden went to shit, and so I'm about to plant some kale, some carrots, potatoes. I think like red potatoes you can plant right now, but and of course like my summer stuff that will be coming up, like my squashes, tomatoes, and eventually I would like that. I want to have like a little
self-sustaining. Is that
yeah,
the word?
absolutely, and grow as many vegetables as I can because like I get so irritated with the grocery store and the freshness and the quality sometimes of vegetables.
You're already looking like a genius with the chicken thing because eggs are crazy.
Yeah, I've been bringing them to work. I tell everybody, bring me a carton, I'll bring you some eggs.
There you go.
So that's happening.
And you work at a prison, so I mean, you can trade some eggs for some.
That's
No, I want to keep my job.
Well, I mean, I didn't say contraband or anything illegal. I was saying, you could trade it for,
Well, just give it to people.
you guys be good, and I'll give you a dozen eggs. I mean.
Yeah, I give it to coworkers. I can't.
Oh, again, you guys be good. I'll give you a dozen eggs.
It's everything's going really well, and so I'm headed to Jackson this weekend to see all my girlfriends, and
Going to Jackson. Remember that?
Mississippi.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm excited because we get together about 5 times a year, birthdays, celebrations.
what are y'all gonna do in Jackson?
One of my best friends is pregnant, and so we're having a sprinkle shower or something. I think they're called sprinkles.
I don't know. You asking him, Mike.
It's like after you have your first baby, it's not really a baby shower, it's a sprinkle. From what I understand.
Never heard of it.
It's
Never heard
not
that
big like a baby shower, but we're just meeting in Jackson to have lunch, get our nails done, and have sprinkle.
Bring your gun. Over
No,
there.
I've been disarmed.
Well, that's
I do have my Red Ryder though.
well, there you. I'd bring something. Yeah. No. Jackson's. Some parts of Jackson are cool, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm driving to Monroe, staying the night. All my girls are, meeting, and we're all gonna ride together over there. So that should be a lot of fun because we really enjoy each other's company. But
Yeah.
work's good, and everything else is going a lot
So
smoother
do
than
we
it has
know?
this
Do
year.
we know the one who is going to have a baby?
Yeah, my friend Kate.
I don't guess I know Kate. Do you know Kate?
Y'all haven't. Well, you met
This
Melissa.
wouldn't make
you met.
8 for Kate, would it?
No.
Just saying.
Somebody
That
showed
It would be 3. And
That would be 9 anyway.
you met Melissa and Jenny. Well, Melissa
Yeah.
and Jenny hang out with this core group of girlfriends of mine that I first got sober with. And
Yeah.
so
yeah, they've been on here.
yes,
They have.
those are my.
They need to come back
So,
if they're listening. They ain't been here in a while.
Today's
so.
Thursday, in case anybody don't know, March the 13th.
Yeah.
And we're recording on Thursday, March the 13th, so that Jill can go out of town this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And enjoy her friends.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
I don't quite understand the whole, we're going to go get our nails done. I don't.
Bro, you and me both.
Can you imagine?
There are plenty of men that get their nails done.
You know what we're going to do this weekend, Matt? We are going to practice hygiene together.
We're going to put deodorant on. Let's
Yeah.
go put deodorant on.
Together.
Yeah.
Y'all put on deodorant.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well, what it is to save money. Matt puts it under his arm, and then we just rub our pits together.
No.
Well, it looks pretty cool,
That's
actually.
sexy.
No. No. Maybe you should you can go and get your nails done.
yeah, I mean,
Especially
Lacey,
your feet.
Lacey has a nail.
She always has something going on with her nails.
And then she'll put on the fake ones. Then like 2 hours later, there's a different color fake ones on there. And I'm like, you took all those off? Yeah. And I'm like, and then she'll go, my nails look terrible. I need to go get them done. I'm like, you just did them. You just glued all that stuff to your fingers.
Well, let me
know?
tell you something. I mean, I'm a woman, but I'm not a girly woman.
Yeah.
So I get my nails done about 3 times a year. That's about it.
I don't know how often she goes,
About
but
the same
it's
amount
not enough.
we put on deodorant, man.
Yeah, she does keep those fake ones, man. I've got them like all over the place. I guess they just fall off, and I just find random nails
Well, you know, those
everywhere.
things can land you in some serious trouble if you leave them at a homicide scene.
Yeah, murder scene. Yeah, if she decided that, she would get caught because they could follow the nail.
The trail of
droppings.
nails?
Yeah,
The
back to
trail
her.
of nail. So, yeah. Well, Matt, what have you been up to? Still wedding planning? Is that what you do every night when you sit at home?
No, I'm starting the 17th. I was thinking about this today. I've been doing this 17 years cutting grass in this business, and I can feel it more this year than I have any other year.
And how so?
Just I can tell that I don't have the energy or just physically.
Yeah.
Mentally I'm fine. I'm used to it, but I just it just takes me a little longer to get going. But I do it by myself, so I kind of just go at my own pace. So if I want to haul ass, I do, and if I can, I just go, well, I'm old and I'm gonna slow down. So I can kind of do that too. So
I get that. I mean,
17 years cutting grass.
yeah. I was in the tire business for about 10 years. Did really well with that until it didn't go really well, and then kind of got ran out of that with the carousing that was going on. And
Who were you carousing with, bro?
customers, man. Just,
Well, you gotta do what you gotta
taking
do.
out. Yeah. Don't let an alcoholic that's 24 give them a credit card and say, hey, we want you to take these folks out to drink
That
and
would have
eat.
been a nightmare for me if I
Yeah.
had to do that.
I mean, I was like waking up in my yard on a Tuesday morning, like what happened? And, yeah, so, but anyway, I got out of that and things kind of got worse, and that's how I wound up. Somebody gave me a job doing this, and I worked for him for about 3 years, and then went to treatment and got out, and I'm still in the same business. So, one of the 1% in this business that is sober. The rest of them are wildly still out there. Okay. So,
And there are certain businesses, we've talked about this on the show
Mm.
before, that alcoholism and drug use tend to be more rampant than they are in
sure.
others. So, that's
I saw a guy yesterday.
you wouldn't think yard guys though when you drive by.
Oh, man.
Like
Oh,
if
my
they're
God.
seriously, if there's if it's a professional crew and they need to get, I don't know, 15 yards in a day, you have like 30 of them together. So they're always together. Somebody does this, somebody does that, and I mean it's kind of hard to hide that.
They don't hide it. They
not
all
if
do it
everybody's
together.
doing it.
Here,
Well,
let me,
then
let,
there's that.
let me tell you. Let me tell you an anniversary story of the start of 17 years. My guys, one of my crews. I'm not going to say the company. We all in a big cab truck. There's 5 in a truck. They're cutting Camp Forbing Kroger store on Ellerby Road down there. Camp Forbing. That was a property that I worked on for a long time. They decide we're going to smoke a bunch of weed, which was the most minor narcotic they could touch. By the way, I was actually kind of proud of them. It's almost like they didn't do anything to me. So they all just smoke up our truck, and then they decide, let's pool our money. Let's go into Kroger and get one of those big containers of cheese puffs because we're high. Those big plastic ones.
Oh yeah,
And they
a
get it.
barrel.
Yes. A barrel. Yes, a small barrel. They proceeded to eat that all the way back to the shop, fried out of their brains, backed our truck in. We had it out in the woods. Our shop was out in the country. And overnight, the raccoons smelled the cheese puffs that they had crushed all over the floor and under their feet and decided to attack our company truck and find a way in. In doing that, they ripped all the lights, wiring harnesses out from under our truck. It cost us about $1,900 to get lights and stuff back on our truck because raccoons, weed, and cheese puffs.
Wow.
So 17 years.
Yeah,
I've been doing
raccoons
that.
don't play.
No, they don't. We had them on
They're sneaky
camera.
Little,
Like we watched them. Yeah, it was a whole like army of them just showed up. They were all like, "Hey," I guess they texted each other. I don't know how they know. Hey, cheese puffs over here, but they got in them. So
oh,
it's been fun, but you got to have a sense of humor about it. And some of those guys, they're doing better. Some of them doing worse. I see them all the time and talk to them, and I'm kind of glad at this point that I just work by myself and I don't have to deal with that
that's nice.
day to day up and down of that life. So
Yeah.
but
Well, Mike, how have you been?
Man, I've been blowing and going. See, we recorded when Saturday.
Friday.
Friday night?
I don't
Friday
remember,
night.
but it
I
wasn't.
can't remember
I think
either.
it was Saturday evening.
Okay. I'll go with
And
that.
It was. Yeah,
It was Saturday evening. I worked, so I left here, got home at 10 o'clock, worked all day, most of the day Sunday, got home after that, and packed, got on a plane the next morning, flew to Orlando, Florida, stayed there for whatever till midnight last night when I got back in. I got to the airport at 9:30, and I got home at 12:30, and every single road in DFW must have somebody working on it last night because it was just amazing how long it took me to get home.
How they had conspired.
Well,
To,
your GPS tells you take a right here, and you go to take a right, and there's orange cones everywhere,
No.
and then so you can't take a right there, and then the GPS tells you to go down, turn around, and go back to right where the orange cones are, and so I learned DFW pretty good last
But
night.
I mean, I feel like that's how it was when we were going to party there in like 1994.
Oh, it's just the same. Never
it
changes.
literally hasn't stopped.
I mean, how they can simultaneously work on every road in Texas is beyond me. But I don't know what the delay is on some of this stuff. It's amazing.
I'm gonna say something about. I travel on I-220 a lot. I've been on it 4 or 5 times today. I have a teenager who runs out of gas. I have a fiance who constantly runs out of gas. Okay, I've spent a lot of time on the side of 220. But there is a guy that works for the Department of Transportation. He drives a truck, that emergency truck. Like if you have a flat tire or something like that, I guess you're supposed to call him.
Mm-hmm.
This dude is on his game. Like I have been out there been following my stepson home, and he blew out a tire. We pull over, and this guy is like right behind us. He's like, "Y'all okay? Let me turn the flashers on." Like this dude is on it. Whoever this guy is, they need to give him a raise. I passed him coming today, and he was right behind two people. He was out there doing his thing and helping them change a tire. And I was like, you know, as much as you hear about the government and things being slow and not working right, whoever this guy is, he's on his game over there. So anyway,
no, man,
pretty cool.
I get it. And sometimes I'll drive down the road and I'll see the, perfectly able person standing there watching that guy change his tire. And I'm thinking, man,
it's amazing how many people
I got to change my own.
Can't. Yeah, I changed my own.
I don't even. I don't have like AAA or any of that stuff.
You know, we got the Circle K right up the road right here, and I'll say this about the sheriff department here. I don't know how many times I've seen them helping some folks fix a tire. Like they're actually jacking they're out there doing it. I mean, you don't see that every day either, but I mean, but they do, man.
I don't know. Just I have had I had a flat tire headed home twice back to Dallas in the middle, and it's like I just one night I didn't have nothing. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I couldn't get a hold of my son, and I called AAA or whatever. I was just gonna pay somebody to come get me, and couldn't find nobody to even pay to come get me. The next day, driving back over to Shreveport for whatever reason, I drive down the road and same spot, and there's AAA. I guess they don't work past 9 o'clock or something. I don't know, some weird thing they got going, but whatever. I'm blessed, and I shouldn't, be all up in my business about that. But I don't know. But besides that, just the the baby's been sick, and there's been a little delay in the training, so the date for him to get back out and get back home has been pushed back. So it'll be first week in April. Savannah's actually here right now. Her daughter's not feeling well. Everybody got that rotavirus or whatever that. I don't know. I may be saying it wrong.
Yeah, no, I think that's the rotavirus.
And then and I'm getting over whatever I had. I don't know what I had. I was pretty ill for a few days there. Mm-hmm. So, and that's about it. Oh, and I still haven't got my hail damage fixed because I was out of town. My car looks like a golf ball at this point. So
yeah.
But besides that, that's it. I'll leave here tonight and go start all over again in the morning. And I have a good excuse to work all weekend because we're not going to record during the weekend. So okay. I may make it back over here Saturday evening to go to the 5:30 just because I need a meeting in. So, but that's about it. That is about it.
You got your announcement button, by the way?
I can pull it up right here, Matt.
I've been thinking about this one since you were there.
All right, Matt.
Yeah.
You ready?
Pretty big one. Yeah, go for it.
All right, hang on. I got to turn it up. Okay.
So, Duke, the one and only Rogers, one of Rogers guys,
Rogers Duke,
got a
Rogers
year.
Duke.
Got a year.
Rogers Duke.
A year of sobriety this week.
Yeah,
Jill and I were there and had some cake. And
congratulations!
Pretty proud of that dude, man.
Yes.
I'm proud of Raj. That's his first.
Oh, he was fired up, man.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, he was fired up.
He was pumped up about that. I remember when Raj got his first year, and I was just like, I was pretty pumped up too. I mean, I gotta admit, I was probably just as happy as Raj was when he finally pulled off a year.
Mm-hmm.
He was cutting cake, and I came in a couple minutes late, and he was over there cutting the cake, and so I just stopped and helped him do the cake, and he's like, "You think I got the pieces too small and all this stuff?" I'm like, "Man, roll with it, dude. It's cake."
We need to have Duke come on the show.
Yeah. And Roger's got a bunch of good guys that are doing really good, man.
Does he have a sense of humor?
I think if you can do the drum beat after this, but if Roger's your sponsor, you got to have a sense of humor. I mean, that's no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, of course he has a.
Yeah, him and Jalen, all those guys are really funny, man. good
I
guys.
can tell you now, Jalen's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
I've known
I'd
Jalen
like
for
that.
years, and that
He was
dude-
on once, but I'd like him to come back on too. We might have to do a Roger Sponsee episode and just get all
I might
those
have to
guys in.
go invest in more cameras and microphones
Yeah.
if we do that. This
Yeah.
dude has like a
He's got an army in there, man.
he's got more people than I can imagine. You know,
That's great.
I can't imagine having that many.
But
sponsees.
good results because he has a good program and he does all those things, and those guys they take to that and they go with it, and
Yeah,
that's
And-
awesome to see.
as they should. I mean, Roger spends a lot of time with his guys.
Mm-hmm.
He really does. He does something that I never did, and I say I never did, but I have one of my guys down in New Orleans. Obviously, he has a new sponsor now, but I remember we were sitting in a car out in front of a club one time doing the steps, and because they were having a meeting in there, and someone was using the room that we meet in, and we sat out in the car and did steps, and it was like 1,000,000,000 degrees outside, and down there, it was like 900% humidity. And we went out on Lake Pontchartrain one day on the boat, and yeah, that was a pretty rough trip there. I mean, we really didn't get to do much step work. We was trying to stay alive,
well-
the whole staying alive thing kind of interfered with pretty much what we were planning on doing.
Yeah, I did pretty much did most of mine with Bobby fishing in a boat, and I love that. I never would have thought that in rehab if they'd have said, "Hey, you're gonna do." I just thought I'd be
Yeah.
like in this darkened room with this
Right.
old man like looking
Well,
at me, and
Sheila and I did some steps in the pig pen.
Really?
With when my pigs were babies.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
they
Look, you're like,
Well, I just think it's I
Hey,
think it's different to too. It gives you that I don't know, like doing it in a boat. It was kind of unrushed because we're going to be there all day fishing, so it wasn't like we
Yeah.
had to just fly through whatever we were doing.
well,
and
you
we,
just stand there anyway.
yeah, so it was like no pace to it, like a rush to it, and I don't know. I kind of like, and plus just being outside, being on water, and
Yeah.
that type thing. I liked it, but I
It's
had in my
comforting.
mind something totally different in rehab. I was like, this is gonna not be good.
Well, so I'm glad you made that point because that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about, right? You think about it, right? So in rehab, I thought I can't say we thought, right? I can speak from my experience. When I was in rehab, my thought process was that when I got out, I would be going to these classes every day and then go home and try to figure out something that's going to occupy my time. And what a boring life I'm about to have.
Boy, let me tell you,
I second that.
I third that.
Yeah, is that what you
it
thought, too?
scared the hell out of me because, like, what am I going to do? Just sit there? That's what I thought I'd be doing. Like, I'd be sad and just sitting there.
And a lot of these little cliques that they have,
40 years, I'm gonna sit here sad.
the few meetings I have been to, right? These little cliques they have inside of Alcoholics Anonymous or in the rooms were almost like, do y'all remember Dana Carvey's version of the church lady on Saturday Night Live?
Absolutely.
Like, that's what I pictured. Everybody's like, we missed you at the meeting last night, Mike. What
I get
was
that
you
every
out
now and then.
was you out cavorting? I mean, that's what I honestly thought that I was going to come into contact with. A bunch of people. We don't, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but we don't realize the people that go to AA are the hardest core partying people you ever met. These people, they've been to jail. They've done some stuff that you can't even imagine. Some of it ain't even bad. It's just like, stuck in the desert for 2 days because they ran out of gas when they were on a drunk or a high driving through these people are crazy, right? And there ain't none of that church. There is a little bit of church lady business in there. I mean, at some point somebody tends to get a little self-righteous, but for the most part, that is not the case. And I remember coming into the rooms and they would be, matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and read this, Jill.
Yeah.
Jill told me I had to read this in order to stay at the podcast today.
Yeah.
So we have been speaking to you of serious, sometimes tragic things. True, right?
Absolutely.
We've seen everybody at this table knows somebody who has died from either suicide because of addiction or because of the addiction
Even
itself,
related. Yeah.
cirrhosis, overdose, you name it. We didn't realize that many people died until I got into the rooms, right? Very serious thing, because for us, for me, if I go back out, I could die. It's not
for
really
sure.
a matter of going to jail or my kids not talking to me or losing something. It's a death thing, right? So,
Agreed.
but we've been speaking to you of serious, sometimes tragic things. We have been dealing with alcohol in its worst aspect, okay? We have been dealing with alcohol in its worst aspect, but we aren't a glum lot. Well, sounds like it, Bill, you know. If newcomers could see no joy or fun in our existence, they wouldn't want it.
But I mean, but do they? Because I was a newcomer once and I thought it was bullshit.
Well, I mean, we all think it's bullshit at
Oh.
first, but I'm saying if newcomers could see no joy or fun,
Yeah.
right? And again, we hype and not to knock on anybody. This ain't a cut at nobody, but you know, some people don't find a bake sale fun. Some people don't find a speaker meeting fun. Some people don't find a lot of the stuff we do to raise funds to keep the organization going. We call that fun. I tend to like it because I like being around like-minded people, and it gives me a chance to show off my latest pair of shoes or whatever, you know. I get my hair done and my nails done.
Me too.
And then I can go to these events and, you know, say, hey, look what happens when you get sober. You get to look like this, you know.
Get shoes.
But some people, especially newcomers, you're a 22-year-old kid, you're not really too concerned about a bake sale, right? But we absolutely insist on enjoying life, okay? We absolutely insist on enjoying life. We try not to indulge in cynicism over the state of the nations, nor do we carry the world's troubles on our shoulders. When we see a man sinking into the mire that is alcoholism, we give him first aid and place what we have at his disposal for his sake. We do recount and almost relive the horrors of our past. But those of us who have tried to shoulder the entire burden and trouble of others find we are soon overcome by them. And that is the paragraph with we are not a glum lot. So, I'll go first.
You go first.
Do you mind if I go first?
Please do.
Okay. I was 38 years old when I got sober, okay? And I had I had a good life, okay? So I had been a father twice over. I had a little boy and a little girl, and I had been married. I had at one time I had the perfect house, the car, the truck, the boat, the truck that pulled the boat, cat, dog, everything, the whole 9 yards, you know, almost as if by 38 years old I had achieved everything there was to achieve, okay? In my head, what's left? Okay? I'm 52 as we sit here today, and I had not even touched living life to the fullest until I got sober. I have seen some amazing things. Like, I mean, and when I finally got sober, I didn't want to get out of bed. Depression was really bad. The health problems were really bad. The consequences from my actions were really bad. Depression was just overwhelming. And to be quite honest with you, once all that was lifted, I got sober. I have had the most amazing life. I mean, I wish I could. I understand the old fellow back in the history that said, I regret that I only have but one life to live. He said for my country, but, I regret that I only have that, because it's just been the most amazing life. I have been to the top of some of the mountains and some of these places that people never get to go to, right? I've snow skied down mountains that only few get to go. I've swam in waters off the coast of islands that people don't go to. I've just had, to be quite honest with you, I have just had the most amazing life, mostly due to the fact I'm sober, mostly due to the fact I have a higher power who I communicate with. And, and then the second half would be because, these trips are pretty easy to fund when you're sober. and I'm single. When you're single, so I'm not paying for a whole family. I just get to go, you know. So there's a plus to that too, right? So, but the most amazing life I have, and it has. I never even thought at 38 years old there's so much more to do, right? Been to all 50 states, every single one of them. There's not a state I have not been to.
I didn't know that.
I've been to most twice.
Okay.
I've been to 5 other countries. I have done some amazing stuff, man. And I've met people along the way, I'm talking about just friendships, you know. And, you know, of course, you're going to give them a fake number because you don't want to actually talk to them after you leave.
Yeah.
Why do you make all these plans? No, I ain't really going to do that crap. But, you know, for the point is, you know, none of them try to call you right there. Hey, I'm going to send you my number. Like, yeah, you go ahead. You know, I'm going to go snow ski down this mountain. See you later, alligator. But really, I've had the most amazing life. And, you know, I thought I got to watch 2 children be born, you know, which it's pretty cool. I mean, it's gross, but it's pretty cool. And I thought that was, you know, but I got to see 4 grandchildren come into the earth. Now, I didn't watch that. I'm not doing all that, you know, but I have 4 grandchildren that came into the earth. And, you know, you think that love for your kids can't ever be duplicated or replicated, but that's something that can happen, you know. You get to feel. Right, you get to feel things, you know. It's because there's also been some things happen. My grandmother passed. One of my grandmothers has passed away since I've been in recovery, but you know, I get to feel it. My friend, one of my best friends, passed away. My childhood friend passed away, and you get to feel it. You get to become to peace with it. You don't have to try and figure all that out later or dodge it or run from it. And man, I've lived in 1, 2, 3, 4 different cities in the past 12 years because I have been on the road for 12 years. Like, I had a brief 13-month, 14-month stint back here and then went back out on the road. So, you know, basically over a decade out on the road, meeting people and learning new places and new roads. And, you know, I ride motorcycles now. Like I used to make fun of people who had Harleys, right? I ride one now. Yeah. I mean, I just go, sometimes I like when I finish with us and I drive back and I get home at 11 o'clock at night, I'll jump in the Harley and do a couple of loops around the neighborhood. I mean, just amazing kind of stuff that we do. And man, I couldn't even get out of bed when I got sober. So it ain't about bake sales, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you go out and do like super cheesy stuff.
And we do some cheesy stuff.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. I do.
And to be honest with you, I like it.
Well, I feel like I'm doing the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't.
Well, and it's so normal. Like you're just at a bake sale, you know, and it's like we're eating chili.
Hey,
like,
I would hit up a bake sale, okay?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just saying those are so normal things, and you're around all these sweet people, and it's just like, I never was doing this. It like people were getting stabbed where I was hanging out at before, you know, and they weren't selling cakes, you know, or cookies.
No.
But
well, there was nothing. I mean, like there was a camaraderie, but it was a lot of lies and deceit and you know, stuff like that.
But I think people come in and I've had this with guys and sponsees, and they're like, I'm bored to death. This sucks. I'm bored. And I go, you have to get in here, and you know, talking about those inner groups. That's where I started to meet people and actually like be able to just sit and freely talk to them, sit on the front porch. There was downtime. So you kind of learn like, oh, I can kind of talk with this person, or I know this person. And as those went along, then I started to meet people and they went, hey, we fish, or we do this, or we do that. Well, then things branched out outside of here. And, it's funny to me, like now with my life, the way it is, if I have any type of situation come up that I need something, or I need to know somebody that's in a certain kind of business or whatever it is, I know somebody in this program that does just dadgum near everything you could possibly need.
That's for sure.
And I know somebody to call, and they shoot me straight every time. And, that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought we would, not even like the church lady. I just thought it'd be like a bunch of old, cranky men just being like, yeah, you know, no more drinking for us. And then as we just stare at each other every night and just be like, let's all
Be awkward.
Yeah, like Jill said, just sit there and be sad, you know? And, yeah, and I thought this is terrible, but it's better than killing myself. So
Right.
when I got to that point of going, you know what? If they tell me to sit around with these old men and just be sad, then that's what I'm going to have to try to do. And when I got to that point, anything was fun after that. I mean, get bake sale, whatever you want to do, I was in. So
Yeah. Why don't we do cakewalks?
we want to do a
Haven't
summer
got
event.
quite that old yet.
We want to do a summer event at the club. Where
I think a
already on
cakewalk
that,
would be
with a,
fun.
with a Dunkin'
We'll,
booth.
we'll throw the cakewalk in there for you.
With a
Thank
Dunkin'
you.
booth, we're going to put Bobby in there, and I'm going to throw my rotator cuff out, spending money. Dunkin'.
Yeah,
So
yeah, the old Dunkin' booth.
the old
Yeah.
Dunkin' booth.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Time
when
to
I
bust
think,
the old tats out, Jill. Tats.
oh, I
No,
thought you said cats. I was like, Billy is not
No.
having anything to
Cats
do with
don't like
this.
Dunkin' booths.
no, yeah. I mean, I said tats.
Okay.
Tattoos.
I thought he was making a Billy threat.
No.
Well, I'm sorry. But anyway, so, you know, when I thought about my future, there was no AA in that future because I was convinced at that time that wasn't going to be a deal.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I never thought about AA.
No, I meant when I got sober.
Okay. You
And-
were right out of high school, wasn't you?
I was-
Oh, you were 34.
Yes, I was 34. So that, I mean, I just saw myself sitting there and being sad
So
and
how
like,
do you be 34 in high school? They like just
don't- where'd
eventually
you-
ask you to leave.
That was my department in 34.
I knew one of y'all was in high school when you were in your
It
30s.
wasn't Jill. Okay.
Yeah, you had to go 21 Jump Street thing going on, you know? I mean,
it just, I didn't, I don't understand how you do things without drinking and using. I mean, because that's what
Definitely is-
motivated me
definitely,
to,
is, you know, hey, are you coming tonight? Probably not. I'm going to go home and, well, we got drugs and alcohol.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'll be there before you are.
There was already, you know, I needed that to function. And if there was an incentive, like any, like goodies and things like that, well, okay, hell yeah, I'm going to be involved. And that's the only way I knew how to have fun, you know, at that point in my life. And so I just thought it would just all be lame. And I was already, you know, like setting myself up for lame. I was not okay with this AA stuff. I did everything I could to fight it and not be your friend.
Yeah.
People were reaching out to me. I was going to meetings way out in the country, kind of, and I did have a little fellowship of people, and it was very awkward. I didn't like it, and I just feel like we had our own little like laughs and stuff at meetings, you know, because we all lived in halfway houses, but it was when I got out of myself, which took me a couple of years to get out of, and I started doing things because I was that lame and that bored and that unique that it started to bring a lot of pain. And I was like, I've got to do something different. And at that point, you know, I was playing tennis with some other people in recovery, and they told me like, "What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Cocaine.
You're right. Well,
Get drunk.
It's a big one.
well, I remember, you know, I got a bicycle in recovery when I was in the halfway house and rode it around the little town I lived in. And it just kind of like those little bitty things. But, you know, socially, until I started accepting other people and getting out of myself and getting to know others is, like I said, I was just pretty closed off for the first couple of years. And, but I mean, it's amazing. I do have a great life. Back in my addiction, you know, I never left here. I mean, I'd go to Dallas and New Orleans and, you know, go to all these places to go party, but I couldn't leave here because this is where I got my money. This is where I got my drugs. And I was highly, you know, enabled. And
Two very important things.
well, and I can't leave that so-called support system or my enablers because I don't have any money. And a lot of the times I wasn't working, so I couldn't leave. And not only that, like, what if I run out? I remember when I was young, I really wanted to be in the Peace Corps and, travel the world and go help people. But I remember, like, I can't be without my Xanax. Like, I can't just get Xanax shipped to wherever I am in some country somewhere. But, and I did have all these hopes and dreams. And I think, and through my addiction, I lost motivation. I lost hope. So I did nothing. And it's really crazy to think that I actually thought I was doing big things.
Yeah.
I really did.
I get it.
And it was some kind of false pride, false arrogance that, my life was just going so great and I was doing all these great things and I really wasn't doing anything. I isolated more and more and more and more and got sicker and sicker and sicker. And, like I said, I knew just something had changed. And when it did, it was just hard to break that pattern because I did fall into a huge depression. And I want to say the first year, I literally slept my early recovery away. I would come home, sleep, get up, eat, go to a meeting, come back and go to bed. I did that for a really long time. I was just exhausted.
But, thinking about Duke and then you bringing that up, and I talked to him the other night, and this is advice that was given to me by Joe B. And he still does it every year on my birthday. He always gives me something to
nice
let's work on this. Well, like, here's what's coming up. You know what I mean? Like this year.
He does that to me as well.
Yeah, I think he does it probably with everybody, guys-wise, that has a birthday because now, But anyway, it was kind of the same thing with Duke. And, you get that first year and you're like, ooh, baby. And then you get up the next day and you go, oh, now I got 366 days. And I don't get a chip every 30 days now. And you go, wait, this is a whole deal here. And yeah, whatever you do to get through that first year, if you sleep the whole year, who cares? Like it doesn't matter. Do what you have to do. But there's going to come a time, and the point of all this is where life is going to start happening. You're going to start having things going on and get invited to things and find things you enjoy doing.
Agreed. That first year to me was it was the fight of my life.
Sure.
And battling me and my thoughts and my emotions. Because I didn't know what to do with them yet.
Yeah, and we took drugs and alcohol away, and the only thing that whole year was me fighting Matthew because he was the only thing left.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was very raw, and the only way I knew to shut it up was to go to bed.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I was half-assed, doing recovery. I was going to meetings and, not really getting to where I needed to be in my steps. But like I said, a lot of pain, motivated me to do differently. But what's nice today is that I don't have that bondage of I can't do this because I won't have enough of this, or I can't do this. Well, I mean, because most of the time I felt horrible. Like if I felt I had a headache, I was hungover, I felt bad, and so of course I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, not only that, my spare time was spent drinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
as it should be.
Yeah. I mean, and I was either doing that at a bar, like at 3:00 in the afternoon by myself, or I was at my home doing that. So, I lost friends, I lost contact, and again, the isolation. But I mean, my whole life has turned around. And when I opened myself up and started to become less selfish, I was able to let people in. And, I just had a problem with trust, like all of us do. And like I said, I still have the same friend group I had in early recovery. And we still do great things and we travel together. And I talk about it all the time, because it's so exciting. I mean, I'm able to do stuff. I'm able to afford some stuff and enjoy life now. Creating this farm is big, for me, and I think it's fun. I think mowing the grass is fun, which Matt's like, dude, it's lost its luster a long time ago.
Lost it about 16 and a half years ago.
I like to know that I have this land and it's mine.
Sure.
This land is your land.
I was just thinking that.
I don't know the rest of that, but I'd like to chime
This
in.
land's not my land.
Yeah, this land is our land, except it's Jill's.
And I mean, it's just, I can look at the things around me and be proud of them. And I do have joy now, and I interact better with people. I have motivation. Like, I feel good. And, for the most part, it's everything's totally
I
different.
went in that first year, and I was just in my head, and like we are, and I was like strict. I had to work. I had kids. I had the only income at my house. I'm fresh out of rehab. Every day at the 5:30, every single day. Boom, 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 boom. And it sucked. I mean, I just was like, I'm tired. Like but I just had to do it. It was nothing else I could do. And talking about going to one of those intergroups, I showed up at one and didn't even know what an intergroup was. And I was sitting at home and I was like, they have an 8:00 meeting. And I had just been to the 5:30 meeting or whatever, but I was like, they have an 8:00 meeting. And I was just in my head. And I said, I'm just going to go up there to the meeting. And I get there and Randy Taylor, and there's all these cars all of a sudden, and like people are everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on?
What is this?
And I walk in and Randy T is standing there and he goes, hey, can you go get me some ice? And I'm like, who are you? Like, what are we doing here? So right back to the store I go get 4 bags of ice. I come back, end up standing by Randy in the back and just hung out with him and never really was in a meet. But I got home and I went, I don't feel like crap.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
forgot
that
totally
bad.
what I was doing, like what was bothering me. I forgot it just hanging out with this guy, Randy. And so that lame quotation marks I'm using, that stuff, when I can get out of myself, that's a real good way to get out of your own head and get around people. Because I promise you, that group, you're not going to stay down very long if you get around them folks. People are going to be laughing, acting a fool. You're going the energy. So it's that move a muscle, change a thought deal,
Agreed.
And I don't care if they're often auctioning off cat toys. I don't care. I'll be there, because I need it, and it's been a big part of my recovery.
Yeah. And I think the fellowship is like the biggest part of it. If I'm feeling bad, I'm going to walk into a meeting and that's going to change. Everybody's going to be like,
that's true too. Even after I do this podcast, I feel better.
I do too. Because sometimes, I'm like, I don't feel well.
Camera fell over.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
There you go. You almost got it. Yeah, look at you.
whoops.
Billy
Put
knocked
yourself
the
in the
camera
middle
over.
of it. Okay.
We had a malfunction.
So we'll be all right. We'll live through it.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, might have a little bit of time to edit video too. So
We can leave Billy in there.
now that we're only recording a few days out.
Mike loves Billy. It's probably his favorite animal.
Oh,
on the planet.
by far. Yeah. So anyway, what were we talking about?
The fellowship.
Just having fun. I mean, like in the fellowship and opening up to new people and creating bonds with people that isn't shallow and self-serving and bullshitty and what can I get out of you?
I had a funny
Who's
thing.
bringing the drugs?
I was about
Exactly.
I was about 3 or 4 years sober, and my sponsor had a guy that was pretty new, but he'd been coming in there a while, and I don't always just listen to people's sobriety date. I don't pay that much attention. So one night I'm going to the MMA fights at Sam's Town. Right after the 5:30, I'm going straight up there.
Yeah,
And
I remember. I
two
remember when you
tickets.
did that.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I had 2 tickets. This guy, new in the deal, he's out there. He's got a van. I don't
Chris
know what.
Farley?
Yeah, I kind of was picking up Chris Farley vibes, and he's just kind of hanging around like I don't got nothing else to do. And I barely knew the guy, but I'd talked to him. I said, "Hey, dude, do you watch MMA and stuff? Why don't you go with me? I got a free ticket. We got a table, and you can it's free. Won't cost you nothing." He's
yeah.
like, "I'm in, dude." So we roll up there, and the people we were with had 2 tables side by side, and of course there's DJ there. It's a party, right? And I don't even think about what's the guy's sobriety date, sitting there, like, is he fresh?
Right. I get it.
And everyone else is drinking. And I lean forward to him and I'm like, "Hey, you've been sober a little while, ain't you?" And he goes, "No, 30 days or something. And I'm like, oh.
What?
And I was like, why didn't you say something? And he's like, oh, no, I'm fine, man. It's fine. And I was like, but you've been coming in here a long time, dude. Like, he goes, well, I actually hadn't had alcohol in 6 months, but I've been doing a lot of psychedelics lately. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. So he and I ended up having a good time. It was funny. We laughed. And I texted my sponsor and I said, hey, man, I didn't know this dude had like 30 days or I wouldn't have brought him. He goes, it's fine. You were there. I was like, well, what am I going to do? You know? But that's the kind of stuff people did when I came in too. They were like, hey, you like to fish?
Same here.
Let's go fishing or let's go eat dinner or something. Just stop and eat. Jill and I go to
Nikki's on the patio.
We go on and hit Nikki's up and you know, it's just those little things and little momentary things in life where you go, you know what, I have friends, I have things going on, I enjoy that kind of stuff, and it's been worth all the getting through that struggle to get.
Agreed.
You know.
I think the coolest one for me is my relationship with my family, and that I get to do things with them, and I want to be a better aunt and a better sister and a better daughter and all of that, and being present in their lives where I wasn't before. I mean, I would just show up and probably get mad, or I'd have to leave early because I was starting to feel kind of like, okay, gotta go, gotta drink, you know, and we have good times. We have good relationships. It's just the motivation is there.
And yeah.
And we have, on top of all that, the relationship's getting better. And we have a grandson. He's 2, Caden. We have another one on the way. And that's a funny little dude, man. And they get that FaceTime going, and they're doing their little stuff. And, man, you talk about laugh. He can make me laugh over and over, you know, and that's just so cool. I'm so grateful for that because I didn't ever picture that's something else that my higher power was like, all this stuff's out here. You can't even see all this right now, but I need you to focus on what you're in the middle of here, and just to have a good attitude and trust a little bit that there's a process to this. And that's what I get amazed by. It's like, oh, I have this little dude that's 2 years old, you know, like, and then I have all these other things going on, and you know, it's like, that's so cool. And I never could have pictured any of that 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
And that's you never know who's coming, you know, like my grandsons or my granddaughters, like none of these people are even in your mind whenever you know, it's good to be sober, just to be there for them, if anything, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, it was just Mardi Gras, and before I got sober, I would meet my friend Sarah, who's a childhood friend, at Mardi Gras, and the year I went to treatment, I had to cancel because I was so sick. And I ended up going to treatment like a week later or so. But I mean, I did Mardi Gras. I do Mardi Gras now with her pretty much every year. And it's great, you know, and I think about it. This many years ago, I was so sick, I couldn't even leave my house.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one right there.
And I'm out here and I'm free now. And I'm having a good time. And it's just, I think about it every Mardi Gras. I think about it because it actually snowed that time. It snowed that year. It was 2010. And it just, I don't know, it makes me happy to think that I'm not there. I can do things, and I'm not having, you know, an addiction hovering over
Controlling what you do.
everything, because it controlled everything.
I missed funerals. I mean, just anything. If it got in the way of me, I was either sick or so jacked up I had no business being anywhere. And it was like,
Or just coherent enough to know if I go, I'm going to make an ass of myself.
oh yeah. I mean, just
And
like,
how many times had you promised everybody you wasn't gonna make an ass of yourself? One, you know, not next time. I
gosh.
promise I won't do it again.
or I would be that way and just roll in for like, I'm just going to go by for 15 minutes. It's Thanksgiving, you know, and like your grandma's looking at you. She's like, really? You're going to, I'm like, yep, 15 minutes. I'm
Gotta
out.
go.
So,
yeah, I get that too.
you know, it was a lot of that kind of crap. And now I appreciate the hanging out with relatives. And my brother and I were talking last night about some stuff. And one of the folks in our club is trying to sell her house. And I called him and I was like, will you help this lady? And he's like, absolutely, you know. And Man, it's just we've all come a long way, and it's cool to see, cool to see that and where life's going. I'm pretty excited. So
You know, the Grouch the Brainstorm has a Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. We only
Yes, sir.
have 8 followers. So
8.
yeah, we might want to kind of solicit some
8,000,
followers.
Mike?
No,
8 million?
We have 8.
8.
And
Wow.
if we get enough followers, we can do a live stream. So Matt, can you put the word out?
I can, except I'm not even on Facebook, so that ought to tell you how I'm living.
But you're on Instagram. Let your Instagram folks know we have a. I don't
Yes.
have a Facebook either. I have a fake one, so I can monitor the. So actually, we have 7 followers.
Because you're one of them.
'Cause one's a fake one.
I probably I'm one of those followers. My fake profile. I don't do Facebook, but we do, and we can do a live stream. We have the equipment to do live stream, so we can. We get 30, 40 people. We can get on there and do a live stream. So
Okay.
and we don't have to have 30, 40 people. We can have 10 people and have a meeting. So
Yeah.
one thing I did want to talk about during this episode though was I had said that this week's topic was going to be whose happiness are we responsible for? And I said where I got that, and that was from one of our fellow members, and one of their relatives had came to them and told them they wasn't responsible for their happiness. And I was going to tell the story, but I failed to reach out to that member and get permission to use the story. And it doesn't sound good unless the context, right? So real quick though, and we are going to have an episode on it because I'm going to have Matt reach out to him, if I don't, but whose happiness are you responsible for, Matt?
Man, just the only thing I can control is my own. And, I think, and I've got that people pleasing thing going on. So
Same.
it's like,
Ditto.
oh, you're not happy? Let me come over there and make you happy. No, you're not. No. That's then Matt's over there with a gun in his mouth because he's done wore himself out with that. How everybody, I'm not responsible for how people feel.
No, I'm with you.
And I'm also not responsible for what they think about me, good or bad. Their opinion of me does not matter to me. And that took a long time to learn that one too. But yeah, when that's been a big part of just learning, I keep going back to serenity prayer. What do I have control over? And I don't even control my happiness. All I control is trying to do the best I can what's in front of me. Whether that translates to that, and it does sometimes, but it translates to other things as well. But I just have to do that. And it's so simple, but I let it get out of control. And, and now I'm able to be sympathetic when people are upset or whatever they are, but it doesn't affect me personally. It doesn't affect my day or the way, things are going to go with me or what I do,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm in agreement. The only person I can be responsible for is me. And man, that's hard. That's pretty hard in itself. I think I do have a tendency to people please, and I want people to like me. And, but I know that I just don't have that power. And
with it's a tough power to have. I've had to live with it my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it feels like you'd be trying to keep up with something you could never attain.
Never.
And you can. And the problem we run into is people get adjusted to that. People get adjusted to you putting their happiness before your own, and they get adjusted to it. They become dependent on it. And then when you don't, you feel like you've let them down. And when you feel like you've let them down, then you feel bad about yourself. And it never started with you to begin with.
Right. And I feel like you're getting into some like a anxiety, an anxious attachment style, things like that, because you get anxious because of that.
No, I'm 100%.
When you say happiness, though, I think my peace. It ain't my happiness so much as I'm not getting myself upset over. I'm not going to jump in that boat with you. I'll help you all I can, but there's, it is what it is. And I used to run myself ragged.
Yeah.
That's just a miserable way to
And
have
it
to go
is.
through.
I'm going to have to agree
Well,
with you.
I fought too hard for my peace and my serenity. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
biggest battle, I think, of all of it. And I'm not giving it up to no one.
Yeah, sure.
And I will say this, you guys both, I know you fairly well, and you both have really good boundary setting abilities, right? See, I tend to overbook, and other things just because of the whole people pleasing, and I'll tell you what, I'll work on that, and then I'll work on that, and it leaves no time for me to work on anything of my own.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I'm running through reels on, or not reels really, just rolling through on Instagram, and I came across this one saying that said that you are not supposed to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm.
Ooh, that's good.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't. I mean, we're just not that powerful.
And I would hate to think that someone was like that to me. I mean, it's not flattering for someone to be going above and beyond I mean, all you got to do is just walk up to me and say, hey, what's up? I mean, that's it. Nothing else. You ain't even got to say, hey, what's up if I know you, I mean.
And and that's good you brought that up. On the same token, when I've learned to recognize when I'm in those things where I'm not in a great mood or I'm just really tired, that's normally when I'm exhausted. You're not going to get the best out of me.
Yeah.
And I just texted Lacey. I said, when I get home, it's shower and bed. That's all I'm doing today. I don't want to talk about
That's the
a bunch of
exact
stuff.
same thing I text her. No wonder she was talking about hot water. I was like,
did
what
she
are you
text
talking
you
about?
back, ugh? Because that's what she texted me.
Oh.
But
She just
but
said something about hot water.
I learned to recognize that, and it's nobody else's problem to stand around the bed and go, Matthew, what's wrong? I don't want to do all that. We're not
No.
doing all that. Like, I know where I'm at. It's cool, and 90% of the time, it's just tired, and
Well,
and
Yeah.
we'll sleep,
I get that.
something to eat, and I'm good.
Hopefully next time we record, we can have a guest and we can talk, maybe even two guests, and we can talk about people pleasing and whose happiness are we responsible for. That's something that I guarantee you somebody out there has been through.
A
Well,
lot
I
of
think
people.
a lot of us are people pleasers.
I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, and sometimes, I mean, I really here I am rationalizing right now. I am sitting here rationalizing.
Damn.
I was fixing to say, well,
Mike, call your sponsor.
I really don't have a whole lot going on, but truth is, I do. I would like to ride that motorcycle. I got a motorcycle needs ridden. It don't ride itself.
Mike,
got-
you're a busy man.
Got a boat that needs fishing.
and you're always willing to help anybody.
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean, I will go through. We've gone through basketball season. We've gone through all this stuff, and it's running everywhere for everybody. And I told Lacey the other day, I said, "Let me tell you something. It's going to be a fishing pole in my hand,
yeah.
It's coming.
and it's going to be me alone, quiet. I got to do it. It's part of me being me, and I can't do all that for everyone else and run all the time and not pump the brakes for a second." And even me and her going fishing, or me and the kids, but breaking that chain of grind. I can't. I have to stop and just go. I'm not a grass cutter today. I'm not dad today. I'm not this today. I just need a little piece.
Me by myself with a pole in my hand.
Yes, dodging game wardens. That's how I roll. So,
Yeah. I wasn't talking about that, but I get it. Matt.
yeah. I mean, but I've learned to go, it's okay to be that way. I used to think, no, I'll run myself to death and everyone will think I'm so great. No, they don't. They just go on to the next thing. When you drop off, they go right to the next thing or the next person or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. And guess who's sitting there? Us. Wore out, exhausted.
Well, I mean, we don't have that luxury. If we do that, we lose ourselves and our peace, and we're going to relapse.
And here's where people pleasing will get you too is service work. I had this conversation with my sponsor. Sometimes guys are out of line on things that they're asking you to do. I know you dealt with this. Buy me an Xbox,
What?
Yeah,
Hell
I had one wanted an Xbox.
Vehicles. I've been there with
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird out of
cosign and stuff.
and I was like, well, I don't, and I was very early on in sobriety, and I called my sponsor, and he goes, no, the answer's no.
I was wondering what form of Xbox you bought them.
Yeah, no, I didn't, and I was like, no, dude, like, I'm not, like, we're just trying not to drink and use today. That's me and you. We're not Xbox people. I don't even have my own Xbox.
I
So
can't say that I've really heard of many people doing that.
well,
No, I mean asking their sponsor for like items.
but
Right.
but you know, by the same token, I'm not going to say his name, but I had one call. But we can run ourselves to death on a lot of things
Oh, for sure.
along that line. But I have one tomorrow where he made an appointment to do his driver's license for a job at the Minden DMV, and he
that'd
doesn't
be-
have a car.
That'd be quick.
But he got an
Super quick.
appointment. And he was like, man, I have no ride. I said, dude, I'm all in. It's Friday afternoon. We're going to ride over there, get his driver's license. I'm all good with that. He called me. It was scheduled. Let's do that. But hey, man, bring me some Taco Bell. You know, I'm not, no, I'm,
Yeah, on your way here, pick up some Taco Bell. Oh, and by the way, after the DMV, we're gonna have to run over.
I
to-
took a guy home one time, very early on, a few days on out of rehab, and he looks at me, new guy in a meeting, you know, when we used to write it on the postcards, the numbers, and taking the guy home, it's way out my way. He goes, man, do you mind stopping at McDonald's and me and my kid getting something, me picking up some food for my kid? I said, no problem, man. We whooped through the drive-thru, right? We're sitting in the drive-thru. There's a Burger King across the street. We've been sitting in that drive-thru for 20 minutes. He looks at me and says, oh, yeah, my wife doesn't like McDonald's. Can we run over there and get burger? Swear. And I went, no. She better learn to like McDonald's.
So we've got to talk for the next episode.
Yes, we do.
We got a good one.
Whole ball game. So
And, we'll reach out to that member or friend and find out and get permission for that. And so there was something else I wanted to add, and I have completely forgot. So, and it was some good stuff. Oh, that's what it was. So I never really take time for me, right? You know, I can lay there in the morning, you know, like 3 minutes before my alarm goes off and I get up, that minute, you know, that time, and think, man, I can go out there and I can do this. I used to order a whole bunch of motorcycle parts, you know, and it's like 30 minutes worth of work, but it's taking me 2 weeks to get it done because I don't have time. But I don't ever really, I don't do anything for me. And my son's impressive. He really is one of the people I look up to because he sets his boundaries. He actually didn't just break the addiction cycle. He broke the workaholic cycle too, right? And so he'll go fishing by himself. He'll go out to the boat launch and hitch up the boat, well, my boat, and at my launch. But he'll go out there and he'll go fishing by himself and enjoy some him time, right? But Sunday morning, I got up and I went and picked up my grandson. And I took him, now, you got to understand how the distance. So he lives in a town called Midlothian, and I took him to, where did I take that boy? I took him to Grapevine, Texas, which is right by the airport, which is 48 minutes from where he lives. But he wanted to go to the arcade, and so I took him there, and we spent, I don't know, 2 hours at the arcade playing games. He likes me to play with him, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I play these games, right? It's just him on one motorcycle, me on the other, or him in the helicopter, and me shooting the gun. And then we left there, and we went to the local store there, and I got him a Nerf gun, and I got him a Hot Wheels track and some cars. And he was wore out. Like he by the time we got home, he was wore out. And that was, to me, I got to do something for me. That was me doing something for me because I really enjoy spending that time with my grandson.
Absolutely.
Before we get out of here, I want to read this. So we think cheerfulness and laughter make for usefulness. Outsiders are sometimes so I'm going to start over.
Okay.
So we think cheerfulness and laughter make for usefulness. Outsiders are sometimes shocked when we bust into merriment over a seemingly tragic experience out of the past. But why shouldn't we laugh? We have recovered and have been given the power to help others.
Yep.
We've been given the power to help others, but we can't help others if they do not help themselves. And if we try and try and try, we only hurt ourselves. So
that's good.
I'll throw it out there for them. Throw it out there for the guests. So, any other announcements? Anything y'all can think of?
That's it. Proud of Duke.
Proud of Duke. Proud of
Yeah,
Duke.
love seeing those 1 years, man. That's the battle right there, and Roger and his crew.
I'm
man,
proud of
that was-
Roger, man.
Yeah.
Roger, impressive.
You know who I'm really proud of is daggum Debbie. She's been to 8 million AA meetings.
tell
You
you.
know,
Right.
and
Yeah, Debbie's
Debbie's
got
an
us all
animal.
beat, bro.
Okay, Debbie probably knows more about it than I do. So I'm Debbie probably more even than Roger, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Debbie is now taking people through the steps. I'm just, just kidding.
Well,
Debbie's
she-
like, if y'all are tied up, I can do it. You know, so no, they're
She probably
great,
knows
man.
them better than most
Exactly.
folks, 'cause
Yeah.
she has been there, and I remember me and Roger would do step work, and he'd go home and talk to Deb, and he'd come back the next day, you know. And
Aw.
when he couldn't
Yeah.
make a meeting, they'd have a meeting right there in their kitchen with just the
I
two
just
of
love
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool to have that kind of support out there whenever, you know, nobody has to do any of that. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
So,
good team. Yep.
well, guys, I think we're about to wrap it up. So, we have been in beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. We've been here at Rule 62 Studios. Guess what? We're still the Grouch and the Brainstorm.